Since childhood, you have been told a story about the world, a version of reality presented as complete, unquestionable, and solid. Parents, teachers, books, and society all handed you a script and assured you that this is how life is, that this is what is real. But what if that script was only a fragment? What if the reality you take for granted is not the full picture, but merely the surface of something infinitely deeper? Consider how easily we accept labels. You see an object and instantly the mind names it, categorizes it, files it away. You don't actually see the thing itself, you see your concept of it. And the shocking truth is that you've been trained to live more in those concepts than in reality itself. Imagine discovering that what you thought was firm ground was only a painted backdrop, and behind it lies a vastness no one dared to mention. Wouldn't that shake you to the core? Most of us never question it, because it feels safer to believe that everything is already known. But deep down, there's a gnawing sense that something doesn't add up, that the life you were told to live, school, work, success, routines, is like a stage play where the actors don't even know they're on stage. What is behind the curtain? What is the truth so unsettling that it is easier to keep hidden? Perhaps it is that reality is not what you think, not what you were taught, not what you can even put into words. And once this possibility enters your awareness, you cannot go back. You start to wonder if every certainty you hold is just another story, another mask over something far more mysterious. That S where the real journey begins, the willingness to look past the familiar picture and glimpse the hidden depth of the world you thought you already knew. Most people move through life convinced that reality is exactly what they see, hear, and touch, as if the senses were perfect instruments of truth. They believe that the world outside is solid, fixed, and completely independent of them, that what their eyes show and what their ears register is the world itself. But this belief is the very heart of the illusion. What you call seeing is not direct contact with reality. It is a translation, a processed version filtered through memory, language, and conditioning. The moment you look at a tree, for instance, you don't actually encounter the raw phenomenon of that tree. Instantly, the mind overlays it with labels: tree, oak, shade, wood. Instead of experiencing what is right there, you experience your learned associations with it. In the same way, every sound you hear, every face you recognize, every object you touch is first broken down by your nervous system, reconstructed by the brain, and then interpreted by thought. You never touch reality as it is. You touch a version that your mind has dressed up in familiar clothes. This is why two people can look at the same situation and perceive entirely different realities. One sees danger, the other opportunity. One sees beauty, the other indifference. It is not the world that changes, it is the filter. The shocking realization is that what you call the real world is, to a large extent, a mental projection. You do not live in reality itself, but in a web of interpretations, concepts, and stories that stand between you and direct experience. And because this veil feels so natural, you never question it. You assume the veil is the truth. But if you could strip away the commentary, the judgments, the constant stream of thoughts, you would discover something extraordinary. Reality is far stranger, more vivid, and more alive than the mind ever allowed you to see. It is like holding a map in your hands and mistaking it for the actual ground beneath your feet. The lines, symbols, and names printed on that paper give you the illusion that you know the territory. But no matter how detailed, the map is not the mountain, the forest, or the river it represents. It is a simplified version, stripped of texture, smell, sound, and life. Yet this is precisely how most of us live. We confuse the representation for the real. We interact with words, labels, and concepts as though they were reality itself. You look at a person, and instead of truly seeing them, you see the tag your mind has placed on them. Friend, stranger, attractive, dangerous. You meet a moment in time, and instead of experiencing it directly, you compare it with memories, expectations, or definitions. In this way, reality is constantly reduced to a thin outline, a sketch of something that could be infinitely richer if only you allowed yourself to touch it directly. Imagine trying to taste the sweetness of honey by reading the word honey on a menu. That is the absurdity of living in concepts. The truth is that words are shadows, not the things themselves. They are useful, yes, but they can never capture the raw pulse of existence, the immediacy of this breath, this sound, this presence. The shocking truth is that you have been taught to settle for the map, to cling to the description, while the vastness of reality itself, untamed, boundless, alive, has been ignored. When you finally set the map aside and walk barefoot on the earth, you realize how much you have been missing. Reality is not the story in your head. It is the ground under your feet, the unfiltered now, waiting to be seen without labels. Most people wander through life as though under a spell, convinced that their thoughts and ideas about the world are the world itself. They mistake the photograph for the ocean, believing the flat image is the living, moving, endless body of water. This confusion defines ordinary perception. We think knowing the name of something is the same as knowing it, that describing an experience is equal to experiencing it. But the difference between imagination and reality is as vast as the difference between a picture of a wave and the cold shock of water crashing over your skin. The mind is quick to generate images, memories, concepts, and stories, and we become so lost in this stream of symbols that we forget there is something beyond them. It feels safer to live in the imagined version of life because it is predictable, controlled, and familiar, while the raw experience of reality is untamed and often overwhelming. Yet those who awaken realize the brutal contrast. To step out of the trance of ideas is to be struck by the immediacy of existence itself. It is as if your senses, dulled by years of habit, suddenly come alive, and the ordinary becomes extraordinary. A tree stops being a tree and reveals itself as a miracle of colors, textures, and light. The ocean stops being the ocean and becomes the ungraspable force that tosses you, humbles you, and embraces you at once. This awakening shatters the comfort of illusions, but offers something infinitely greater, reality as it truly is. And once you taste the directness of that experience, the flat photograph of life is never enough again. There are rare moments in life when the trance suddenly breaks, when the endless chatter of the mind falls silent without effort. Think of a moment of real danger, your heart pounding, your body fully alert, every sense sharpened. In that instant, you are not lost in thought or memory. You are completely here, alive, raw, meeting reality directly. Or recall the intensity of love when presence with another person is so overwhelming that time itself seems to vanish. Hours pass unnoticed because you are no longer calculating, labeling, or anticipating. You are simply absorbed in the immediacy of connection. Beauty can do this as well, standing before a sunset so radiant that all commentary dies away, or hearing a piece of music that stops you in your tracks. In those moments, you are not thinking about life, you are in life. Children live in this state naturally. Watch a child playing with a puddle of water or chasing a butterfly. They are not categorizing, not defining, not worrying about what it means. They are immersed, wide-eyed, captivated by the miracle of what is happening right now. But as they grow, we teach them to trade this direct wonder for abstractions. We tell them names, functions, uses, rules, and gradually their gaze shifts from reality itself to the concepts about reality. What was once alive becomes ordinary, wrapped in the dull clothing of words. Yet deep within, everyone remembers flashes of that immediacy, those sudden times when the mind is quiet and life reveals itself without filters. It is this recognition, however fleeting, that hints at what awakening truly is. You already know it because you have tasted it, even if only for a breath. The shocking truth, the one that cuts deeper than most are willing to see, is that the separate I you've believed in your entire life has never actually existed. That little voice in your head, the constant narrator commenting, judging, comparing, planning, that voice you've assumed is you, is nothing more than a character. It is a story you've been rehearsing since childhood, a mask made of memories, habits, and borrowed ideas. You've mistaken the echo for the singer, the commentary for the real presence. What you truly are has never been confined to the boundaries of your skin or the outline of your body. You are not a tiny self, locked inside a fragile container, cut off from the rest of existence. You are the field of awareness in which everything arises. Thoughts appear in you, but they are not you. Emotions come and go like waves, but they are not what you fundamentally are. Even the body, as intimate as it feels, is part of the larger flow that comes and dissolves. Look closely. The one who says I is simply another thought, a flicker passing through the open space of consciousness. And yet, that open space, that silent witness, never goes anywhere. It is always present, no matter what thought, feeling, or sensation comes and goes. This realization is not about inflating the ego with spiritual pride, as if to say, I am God. It is the opposite. It is seeing that the ego itself was never more than a useful fiction, a practical illusion. When you see through it, a radical shift happens. The world is no longer outside of you, nor are you trapped inside yourself. You recognize that you are the luminous awareness in which the universe itself is unfolding, the space in which every star, every breath, every heartbeat appears. To glimpse this is to step beyond the story of me and awaken to the vastness you have always been. When this truth is seen, the entire game of life changes in ways that are both unsettling and liberating. The illusion of separateness dissolves, and with it falls the endless struggle to defend the fragile me against a hostile world. You begin to recognize that what you once thought of as other, people, nature, even the universe itself, is not outside of you at all. There is no hard line dividing self from non-self. Everything is part of a single movement, one seamless unfolding. Harming another feels as senseless as harming your own hand, because the distinction between I and they is revealed to be conceptual, not real. At the same time, nature stops appearing as a mindless machine that occasionally produces accidents like consciousness. Instead, you see intelligence woven into every corner of existence, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the growth of trees, the cycle of stars. This intelligence is not separate from you. It is you, flowing through every breath and every motion. The ego, which once seemed to be the author of your life, is exposed as a mere commentator, taking credit for what already happens by itself. Thoughts arise spontaneously, choices appear, actions flow, and you realize you are not the doer, but the field in which doing occurs. Life is not something you control. Life is what is living you. And then perhaps the most radical shift, the collapse of time as you knew it. Past and future, once felt as heavy burdens, are seen as thoughts occurring only now. The past is memory, the future is imagination, both appearing in the same present awareness. There has never been anything but this moment, endlessly renewed. When the mind loosens its grip on its timelines, what remains is the raw immediacy of existence, simple, alive, sufficient. The revelation is not abstract but visceral. The universe is one, conscious, self-moving, and always here. Nothing was ever missing. It was only obscured by the illusion of separation. What has been hidden from you is not some complicated doctrine, not a secret locked away in books or reserved for mystics. It is something so simple, so immediate, that it escapes notice precisely because it is always here. The great deception was convincing you that you are a fragment, a small isolated self cast into an external universe. But the revolutionary recognition is that you were never separate at all. You are not a passenger inside a body, trapped behind your thoughts, observing life from the outside. You are the very movement of life itself, consciousness flowing, the universe looking back at itself through human eyes. This realization strips away the layers of commentary and reveals that the real is never hidden, never distant. It does not need to be reached or achieved. It simply needs to be seen without the filters of language and belief. The words tree, sky, self, and world were convenient labels, but they distracted you from what is actually here, vibrant and unmediated. When those labels fall silent, reality reveals itself as astonishingly whole. There is no you apart from it, no observer standing outside. The river does not flow past you. You are the river flowing. The breath does not pass through you. You are the breath breathing. The universe does not surround you. You are the universe expressing itself in this form, in this moment. And the more clearly this is seen, the more everything simplifies. Life is no longer about chasing illusions. defending identities or trying to hold on to fleeting appearances. It is about resting in what has always been true, that you are the awareness in which it all happens, inseparable from the dance of existence. The truth is radical not because it is complicated, but because it is disarmingly obvious. Right now, before thought interferes, before a label is added, the real is already shining. It has always been here. It is what you are. I can describe these truths in endless ways, but none of it will matter if you don't turn your attention to what is happening right now. Words can only point. They are signs along the road, not the destination. The reality I have been speaking of is not hidden in concepts or tucked away in some distant future. It is here, immediate, alive in this very moment. So pause for a second. Breathe. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. Notice the subtle hum of existence that surrounds you, the sound in the room, the sensation of your body on the chair, the simple awareness of being conscious. All of this is reality revealing itself directly. You do not have to chase it, improve it, or wait for it. You simply have to stop overlooking it. The great secret is not in philosophy, nor in theories, nor in doctrines. It is in the raw experience of presence, in the stillness behind every thought. Right now, look at what is actually here. See without naming, feel without labeling, listen without translating everything into mental commentary. In that silence, you may notice something astonishing. Reality has been present all along, unfiltered, complete. And within that noticing comes the recognition that you are not separate from it. You are it. This is the truth no one ever told you, not because it is forbidden, but because it cannot be contained in language. It can only be discovered in your own direct perception. So the invitation is simple and radical. Stop seeking in ideas and return to what is already here. Look, breathe, open your senses fully. In that openness, the hidden truth reveals itself, not as a theory, but as the living fact that you are reality, aware of itself in this very instant.